Picture this. A man spends his entire life doing good. He helps the homeless, donates to charity, mentors young people, and works tirelessly to make the world a better place. For decades, he's admired by his community, praised for his compassion, and considered a role model. But then, near the end of his life, something changes. He commits a terrible act, perhaps even an unspeakable crime. In an instant, all the good he did is forgotten. His reputation is destroyed, his legacy tarnished, and the only thing anyone remembers is that one final, dark chapter. It raises a difficult question. Does this mean that evil is stronger than good? Why is it that a lifetime of positive actions can be erased by a single bad decision? Is it fair? Is it just? Or does it reveal something about the way we, as human beings, process and respond to the world around us? This isn't just a question about morality. It's also a question about perception, psychology, and even philosophy. Let's unpack it. First, we need to understand something about how our brains work. Our minds are naturally wired to notice negative events more than positive ones. This phenomenon is called the negativity bias, and it's a survival mechanism deeply rooted in our evolution. Imagine our ancestors living in the wild. Their survival depended on being able to detect danger, like a predator lurking in the bushes, more than on enjoying the beauty of a peaceful day. Our brains evolved to prioritize threats because ignoring them could mean death. Fast forward to today, and that same bias still controls us, even though we live in a very different world. Our brains are like alarm systems, constantly scanning for bad news, danger, and negativity. That's why one bad experience can feel so much more impactful than 10 good ones. It's also why we're drawn to stories of crime, tragedy, and conflict. Take the media, for example. Every day, the news is filled with stories of violence, corruption, and scandal. And it's no accident. Bad news grabs our attention. It keeps us watching, reading, and clicking. But here's something to think about. Only about 1% of the global population commits crimes. That means 99% of people out there are not doing evil. Yet, if you rely on the media for your view of the world, you might think the opposite is true. Think about how often you've heard someone say that Latin America is dangerous. But did you know that several states in Brazil actually have lower homicide rates than some states in the United States? Take Sao Paulo, for example. It's often portrayed as chaotic, with images of favelas and street crime dominating the narrative. But here's the truth. Only about 8% of Brazilians live in favelas. That means 92% live outside of them, in neighborhoods and communities that don't match the stereotype. But what gets the most attention? The negative. And this is where the imbalance begins. Evil, though rare, feels larger than life. Goodness, though common, is quiet and often overlooked. But here's the thing. The way we see the world isn't just shaped by the media. It's also shaped by the choices we make every day, especially in the age of the internet. Unlike the past, when TV dictated what we could see, today we have more control. We can choose to consume uplifting content. We can choose to focus on positive stories. And we can choose to surround ourselves with things that remind us that the world is still full of kindness, generosity, and beauty. Yet here's the paradox. Even with all this choice, people still gravitate toward negativity. Why? Because it's captivating. It grabs our attention in ways positivity often doesn't. This doesn't mean the world is inherently bad. It means we need to retrain our focus. Instead of letting the negativity bias dominate, we need to actively seek out the good. Because good is everywhere. It's just quieter. Think about it. Every day, millions of people are doing acts of kindness that never make the news. People helping neighbors, donating to charity, caring for loved ones, and making small, positive impacts in their communities. But these stories don't get headlines. Why? Because good isn't designed to shock us. It's designed to sustain us. And while evil might feel louder, good has a quiet strength that's far more enduring. So, back to the original question, is evil stronger than good? Or do we simply give it more power than it deserves? The truth is, good is not weaker, it's just subtle. It doesn't demand attention the way evil does. But if we start to notice it, amplify it and prioritize it in our lives, we might realize that goodness is all around us. The internet gives us the power to shift our perspective. We can choose to focus on what uplifts us rather than what drags us down. We can choose to spread positivity rather than negativity. And that's the challenge I want to leave you with today. How can you amplify the good in your life? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think evil is stronger than good? Or are we just giving it too much attention? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Beyond the Basics for more thought-provoking content. Let's explore these big questions together